Live from Detroit, live from Detroit, live from
Pink suits with hats to match, big crocodiles and Cadillacs. You looking for the fattest sacks? This is where it's at. Windows tinted, seats fully reclined. Keep your hands on the burner, cause niggas know that it's money on the mind.
Yo, what up, though? It's your man, Jay Johnson, a.k.a. the tinfoil hat titan, a.k.a. the conspiracy realist, a.k.a. the technology snob, Steve Jobs Jr., don't text him with your green bubbles, a.k.a. I only debate my equals, everybody else I teach, also known as Juice, because all the hoes say J.U. Ice, Young Caesar, because you know you can't roam without me, Mr. If you don't like me, fight me. I got kicked out of Noah's Ark because they couldn't find another animal just like me, a.k.a. the West Side T'Challa, the new leader of Wakanda. Don't debate me, debate your mama. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. What up?
What up, though? And it's your man, Dame Gone Wild, the West Side Landlord, the Pride of PA, High Chief Dame Don't Fuck Around, the liquor store legend, the corner store conquistador, your mama's favorite Dame, and the David Ruffin of the Shop Talk Podcast, because you know who the fuck they came to see. Not you, Otis. It's no better than these 4 letters. Thank God for Dame. It's a Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
We never record on Sundays, man. I like to go to Club Jesus from time to time on Sundays, so you messed up my worship experience.
When last time you been to Club Jesus?
2017.
Okay. Welcome back.
I watch it from my trusty iPhone.
Welcome back, Shop Talk Podcast episode.
I cash out my tithes and offerings.
120. We back. We dropped yesterday, but we back because
yesterday was like an appetizer episode. Because
do we call this 120 or just like 119.5?
Yeah, like this might as well be 119b.
Yeah, 119b.
Because yesterday, I mean, when we recorded on Friday, like I was literally stuck in O'Hare Airport. I was flying back home from work. My flight had been delayed like 4 times because of all the ruckus going on the East Coast.
Yeah,
my boss called me from the airport and she was like, "Well, if you like, you can rent a car and drive back home." I said, "It's gonna take me 4 days to drive on your dime."
I would have said, "Yeah."
No, absolutely.
Well, you got to get back for 4 days. You know what I'm saying? You got
absolutely not. If I got to drive myself back home, it's going to take me 4 days because I'm going to stop and get a hotel room every 3 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Milk it.
Yeah.
That's an extra vacation on the company dime.
Yeah. Or you can fly me back first class or private.
Well, first class means there's no hurricane? is that the
upgrade me for my inconvenience.
Oh, okay.
Or fly me back private if you want me back to work on Monday, but there ain't no fucking way I'm driving.
No, okay.
That shit wasn't gonna happen, and
you
then
got that hurricane
and then
plane.
And then she don't know I can't rent a car right now because my license is in a bit of a despair. So you had to put me on the Greyhound,
right?
Which will really take me 4 days to get back to Detroit.
Well, you better get on the mega bus. That mega bus that's like $35 to take you here to Chicago.
Motherfuck the mega bus. When the last time you been on the bus to go anywhere?
Shit. I don't know, 15 years ago or some shit.
Oh, okay.
I took the Greyhound to Cincinnati before.
The last time I took the Greyhound, I don't know if I had a.
This was like young Jay when I had like a whole bunch of gold on and shit. It was like
running drugs to Cincinnati.
No, I went on some family shit.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, my girlfriend at the time, some family shit.
And she convinced you to get on the bus.
How else we gonna get there?
Drive.
I was 19, 20 or some shit like that. Like, I wasn't taking my car out of town.
Did you have a Lincoln back then?
No, I had like AKA, I had the gray Lex back then.
Okay.
AKA a gray Escort LX. So everybody in the hood know when I say the gray Lex, it was the Escort LX.
Okay, well. Nah, but I wasn't trying to fuck with the bus neither. I'm thankful I made it back even after 4 flight delays and them moving my gate 4 times.
It'd be so funny. Shout out to my man D Merritt when we be talking and we be referencing the gray Lex. Like we never explained that shit, and then people like, yeah, I had the gray Lex.
I knew it wasn't a Lexus. Like I done known you a long time, and I knew you ain't never drive no Lexus.
So yeah, shout out to the gray Lex. That was a great car. As a matter of fact, I had 2.
2 Escorts?
I had a 92 Escort and a 97 Escort.
Why are you telling people that?
I'm saying, in 2001, I had the 97 Escort, right? I was, in my brain, like, that's a brand new fucking car.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you
74 years old.
Yeah, because back then you got the 20-year-old car. You got a fucking
I feel you.
Probe or some shit like that. But like I thought I was the man.
I ain't never had no fucked up cars.
I mean, I never had no fucked up car.
Or really no. Only old ass car. I had a Cadillac in high school. I had a two-tone DeVille.
I mean, I had a 1984 Grand Marquis, but that bitch was clean.
Yeah.
I love that vehicle.
So was my DeVille.
That bitch was clean. My tints was there. It was so dark in that. But
How often you get pulled over?
I mean, I got pulled over a few times. This one time I got pulled over on like Dre Road and Halen right in front of the ice cream shop, and like some reason I didn't have my ID like in my wallet. It was like in the car in the bag or some shit. So he pulled me over like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Jason Johnson." Blah blah blah. He's like, "Meet your ID," and I'm like, "Give me a second." It's like it's in the back or some shit like that. He's like, "All right," and he went back and ran my shit, and then when he came back, he's like, "Got your ID?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Good," because this 4 Jason Johnsons with warrants. He's about to go to jail. I'm like, "Shit." Like these tents are bringing unwanted attention.
The one time the Johnson juice didn't work
Nigga.
because there's a bunch of y'all out here being criminals.
I got a popular name, fam.
Yeah.
At one point, Johnson was the number 2 name in the country, and Jason was the number 9 name in the country. So
Don't run me. Just,
hey man, I got Jason facts, okay?
I'm happy.
Well,
that
here's
you
another
did.
here's another Jason fact, and let me explain why your name is whack and my name is the sweetest name of all time. Jason spells out July, August, September, October, November. There is no other name that does that.
Wow.
So I am in my favor during July, August, September, October, November, and December is all downhill after that.
You got a middle initial?
I do. It's E. My middle name is Eloysius.
Shut the fuck up.
I tell everybody that. Oh, they so mad at work because they can't figure out my middle name and shit.
I mean, what you holding on to?
I mean, when niggas don't know, I'll be like, well, I'm not going to tell you. And make it, it's nothing special. It's nothing weird, but
Jason Ellsworth?
Aloysius.
Okay.
You're going to go with that.
I'll figure it out.
All right, man. In the last day or so, did you catch a fight last night?
I did catch the fight last night.
What do you think won?
I felt like Canelo won. When I saw everybody online talking about Triple G got robbed, I'm like, y'all not watching the same fight. Canelo was the aggressor all fight long.
Yeah. And
like Triple G threw some good shots. I'm not going
he threw more jabs than anything.
Yeah, the fight wasn't like washed, but like when I was like going through my, we boxing fans. Yeah, so I'm keeping score. I'm going through my rounds, what I think who's winning the rounds and shit. I had Canelo up like the entire fight. Like, so I don't see why people was upset.
So I thought Canelo clearly won the first fight.
Hell yeah.
A draw. I literally had it like 9 rounds to 3 or 9 to 4, whatever, how the math worked. But like I thought it was a wash, but people saw it differently because I know people like different things in fights.
Yeah.
Some people, I like the boxing aspect. I see you ducking, moving, slipping punches, hitting, attacking, or whatever. So he was on this Floyd shit last fight. So all the build up to this fight, they kept telling Canelo, I bet you won't stand there and trade with him. I bet you won't come forward. I know you don't run. This was Triple G's trainer, which I hate with a passion. He's a racist too, by the way. Like an actual literal one. But he was talking all this shit about what Canelo won't do in this fight or what you won't do, and I bet you won't do this. And then he came in this fight and did it. Like, so I think that actually helped the judge. Like, well, damn, you've been telling this man he's not going to stand in front of you. He going to run around.
And he stood in front of you and traded punches. Yeah.
Like the whole fight.
And he took punches.
Yeah, and took punches. Canelo got a chin, dog.
Yeah. Triple G is no slouch. Like, I wasn't mad at the fight either way. Now, I will say I'm not interested in seeing a third one.
I'm not.
I'm cool with these two. You see your man talking about he coming back to fight Manny?
Yeah, I did. I don't want that to happen. Like, listen.
I don't want to see Floyd and Manny again.
Well, this is the thing. Like, Floyd is my favorite fighter of all time. Like, that I've seen in my life, rather. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is the greatest I've seen in my life.
Better than Mike?
Mike Tyson?
Iron Mike Tyson.
Like, the skill of yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. But Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones, and Shane Mosley at the time, and they were all undefeated at the time. That was my top 4.
No Pernell?
Pernell's he was little before my time.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We seen Purnell fight, but
Fair enough. I was starting to like boxing.
yeah, like
around the
Purnell was at the end of his joint. And I'm seeing all this. Like Purnell's the greatest. So they say Floyd's the greatest defensive fighter of all time, right? You got to watch Purnell in there.
Yeah, he
like,
didn't
this
take a
nigga-
lot of punches.
He literally like on some what's the shit when you
The Matrix,
No, they got the little pole and you got to go underneath the pole.
like Limbo.
Limbo. He like playing limbo out there with punches and shit. But long story short, Floyd, dog, it's boxing, right? A lucky punch can happen. A motivated judge can happen. Like you can't dip your hand in the cookie jar that many times. Like to me, Pacquiao's washed. Pacquiao was always overrated to me.
But every fighter has a fighting chance to win.
Facts. Like dog.
You just don't want to see him get. He dropped his hands this one time, and man, he rocked that jaw.
Dog, you won, fam. Like no one has ever won like this before. A black man come in the game, make the most money in the history of the sport, walk away undefeated. Everybody who want to see you lose, you won.
You beat everybody,
And you won at the top of your game. Beat more world champions, more former world champions, titles and weight, like the whole nine. Fam, walk off into the sunset. Like I want a victory, a certified victory in my lifetime. Like, hey, remember when this happened? I don't want the Roy Jones against Antonio Tarver too.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want that, dog.
It's hard for boxers to walk away because you had that fighter's mentality your entire life.
And then
You got a permanent chip on your shoulder.
And then when a nigga say I'm gonna give you a 9-figure payday to beat a nigga that you clearly better than, and then you beat him already, it's just that the fact that it's boxing is only take one punch or a motivated judge. You know what I'm saying? So I don't knock you out. We go to the scorecards and they're like, yeah, nigga, we want to see you lose. Like I don't want no blemish on this record, dog.
Yeah. I just want Floyd just to chill out at the crib and just enjoy being rich.
Enjoy being a billionaire. You know what I'm saying?
But I said it like a few weeks ago. When do you ever have enough money?
I think you got enough money. Like the whole goal.
I've never had $1 billion. I like to think in my mind that's enough. But then, like, what if I want to buy some shit? What if I want to buy some shit that's $2 billion? Like, I need more money.
Like, what are you gonna buy that's $2 billion?
A bigger yacht.
You can't even swim, nigga. Fuck you going out in the water for? Like,
I mean, because I got a $400 million yacht. Now I need $1 billion yacht. Like, I don't know what enough money is. I'm never going to sit here and say, you know what? I'm good. I got enough. I can do this forever. Like, I don't know what that feels like. And maybe that's what Floyd is going through. You are a 9-figure payday is a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money.
I mean,
It's a lot of money. Like
$100 million at least.
Write out all them zeros down on a piece of paper. That's a lot of money.
I'm gonna give you literally another 100 million, 200 million. You know what I'm saying? Dollars.
That's a
for
lot.
This one night.
That's a lot to turn away from.
That's literally he's going to cross with that fight. He will literally cross over $1 billion made in the sport, and that's not counting like all investments and different things. He got
I really
out there.
thought LeBron would be the first $1 billion athlete that we saw. But
No, it's already Floyd.
I mean, I'm just saying in my mind, I always thought it'd be LeBron. I know it's Floyd now, but
Well, I mean, technically,
Just
LeBron
that-
got a bill from the undisclosed amount for that lifetime deal from Nike. When it's all said and done, that deal gonna be worth $1 billion.
is that enough money? Like, are we gonna see LeBron play till he's 44? Like,
He gonna play until his son gets in the league with him. So that's another 5 years. So
I don't want to. I just hope that he continues to play at a high level. And the only thing that I'm also worried about with Floyd, and we athletes, we say it all the time, Father Time is undefeated. You cannot run from time.
Pacquiao older than him. I mean, he older than Pacquiao, rather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I don't care how much of a good fighter you are, how much at the top of the game, how much you condition yourself, eventually the body starts to break down.
You seen Floyd Mayweather versus Arturo Gatti,
Yeah.
which was like arguably like
One of his best fights.
master performance.
Yeah.
It was all over after that. Like he said, like my body physically has broke down, and like I just been, and that was what.
But the way Arturo Gatti fights, like your body is, you gonna break down.
Yeah, what I'm saying is he like my body, you know, he broke his hands every fight and shit. Like I've been just willing off skill, and my mind is better than everybody else since then. And that was what 2005.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the mind is that great. But this week actually we got a special guest in the building. This week I'm gonna let him introduce himself. But family in the building, actual
Blood family.
Yeah, blood family. One of my cousins is in the building, and we're gonna have a really good conversation today about some of the good things he's been doing.
We should have called some of that convo we had before we came on air.
I got a little bit of it.
Okay.
So let me introduce yourself, my brother.
So David D. Harris is my name given to me, birth name, the second actually. So I'm actually a second, not a junior. Some people think that junior and second
two
is
different
the same,
things.
and
Two different
it's not
things.
the same. So I'm the second. Definitely had been mixed up with my pops so many times in the same way. Jay Johnson said his name is kind of popular. I didn't think that my name was popular, but it is.
Okay.
Like stuff that got mixed up with my pops so much. You know what I'm saying? Mail, credit score. I mean, you name it, man.
Absolutely.
Just like all types of stuff mixed up, man. So my name is decently popular as well. So.
Yeah, my father and my brother and my nephew all share the same name. So it's like 3 generations of Dwayne Johnsons running around here. And that mail can get confusing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you don't put the junior, senior, junior, the third on there or whatever, like that mail can get pretty confusing. Yeah. So how you been, brother? How's your week?
I've been good, man. The week is I was just talking to my wife about it today, like this morning, man. Like every second is accounted for, man, with all of the new things we have going on. So just to share a little bit about my background, my story is just I say I got full-time gigs, right? So first full-time gig, full-time husband. You know what I mean? Been married for 3 years.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Just celebrated our third 3-year anniversary.
Congrats.
Okay.
On September 5th.
Marriage is a full-time job, and people who are not married don't understand. I'm divorced myself,
Oh, okay.
but people
All right.
who are not married don't understand that. Like it's not like your regular relationship where your boyfriend or girlfriend go home at the end of the day.
Exactly.
This is 24/7, 365.
365. And that's the interesting thing too about marriage. Even when boyfriend and girlfriend like stay together, right? They live together.
It's not
And
the same.
then they think when they get married that it's just going to transition over smoothly.
Hell no.
It doesn't happen. that
It's
way.
night and day.
So
It's night and day.
Yeah, marriage is like it's a different thing. It's a great thing, but it's different. You have to prepare for it, counsel for it. When you are married, still counsel for it.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And even like in our community, in the black community, we kind of look down on that or on the counseling thing and getting help and all that. But if you need assistance, you need to keep talking to people to keep your marriage going or whatever is necessary.
You
know what
need
I'm saying?
it.
So,
You need it.
Yeah, me and my wife, we did premarital counseling, and even since we've been married, still, from time to time, do a little counseling here and there,
That's what's
just
up.
so we can address certain things, love languages.
Yeah, facts.
We didn't know about none of that stuff, so I'm coming home. Look, I done paid the bills. I done cooked, you know what I'm saying? Tonight's my night to cook.
Right.
I done took out the trash, and yet, you still, have something to say. But it's because I didn't rub her on her back when I came in, because her love language is, or it might be physical touch type thing. So
And then you look at it when you get married, you've lived, let's say 30 plus years of your life as one person living your lifestyle. She's lived her 30 years was her lifestyle, and y'all trying to merge your different views and values together.
Man, that's funny though. The love language and stuff like that. My parents told me they laugh about it, but like when they first got married, you know what I'm saying, they young. My mama had a certain idea. Like my dad come home at like 5 o'clock every day. Food would be on there. She have a bath water ran, everything like clockwork. Boom, 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 boom. And then like one point was like I don't want to get in the bath as soon as I get home. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, I thought this was like, I got the water ready. I got food on the table. Like I thought this was like
what I'm supposed to do.
She's like, no, I don't want. I don't want to eat right now. I don't want to get. I don't want it to. You know what I'm saying? So they laughing. You know what I'm saying? Years later, they laugh and joke. I'm like, but when they got married at 18 and 19. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like you learning yourself and learning other people, man. That's that love language and.
You learning yourself, and going back to what you were saying, Dame, like it's 30 years or two. If say you in your 30s, even if you in your 20s, I've heard it described as two worlds colliding, bro, because it's like you got to think about not just you and your spouse, like the families as well colliding. Like that has to, and it's like two worlds colliding. Some pieces break off, right? When you see two worlds collide, some things break off. People break off, family that you was cool with break off and all that, and then whatever meshes together, that's your marriage. You see what I'm saying? That's what meshes together,
like,
and the world's coming together.
Two businesses that are merged.
Yeah.
And I got processes and I got processes over here.
Yeah.
I may have different people I hire on this side. Like, well, we don't want them people no more, or whatever. And that's literally in my vision, because marriage under the state of Michigan is literally two businesses coming together to do business.
And you mentioned one thing, like when you marry somebody, you ain't just marrying them, you taking their family with you.
Yeah.
And you'll never know what, like, that's always a crapshoot. Yeah. You'll never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah. But either way, man, it's like I said, I love my wife, man. I feel like she's definitely the woman, that I pray for without a doubt, man. She's very supportive, you know what I mean? Supports my dreams. It's like, to have that type of person, like by my side it's been like an unbelievable thing so far.
It's beautiful.
Full-time dad now as well. So we just had our first son.
Okay.
He's 8 months.
Welcome to the game.
Yeah.
You sleeping all night yet?
Man, I was for a minute, and I thought I was good, right? So I was sleeping. He got past the 4 or 5 month stage, and then he was starting to sleep 8 to 10. So I'm like, okay, cool. And now, like the last few days, I say like the last few weeks, he's been waking up again at 12, 3, and 6. And I'm like, I thought this was over. I thought this was over. What's going on? And so now I think it's like, okay, he not eating enough solid foods during the day type thing. So now we got to make sure we stuffing him with the solid food so that he can sleep throughout the night, because that milk is just going through him now. You know what I'm saying? And my wife breastfeeds or whatever. But that milk is going through him. So he needs that. It's not enough. It's not enough no more, man. So fatherhood, man, is great too. Another full-time job. And it's just, for me, when my parents, how our parents used to always say, like, you'll never know until you a parent yourself. Like, I feel that now more than ever, man. Yeah. It's just like,
it's a different level of love.
Yeah, it's a different level of love, a different phase of your life. And that's like, I thought when I got married, okay, like that's a phase. Now fatherhood, parenthood is like a whole different phase, for me, that I love. But it's just like transitions that you didn't see yourself really doing when you a teenager or you in college, you don't even think about this stage or this phase of your life. But, yeah. So
full-time father.
Yeah.
Full-time husband.
Yeah. Also full-time teacher.
Okay.
I teach middle school at
God bless you,
man. I teach middle school students at University Prep.
Okay.
Middle school. I've been doing that this is my 5th year actually, so I've been teaching for 5 years. I didn't start off at U Prep actually. The first school I started out, like fresh out of Wayne State, is where I got my master's in secondary math education. I actually started at Central. Okay. I started at Central, and this was back. This was
gladiator school.
Yeah, I see y'all laughing because y'all already know it's so.
Central's crazy. It's crazy,
man. And see, the thing was with Central, that's when they first did the EAA project. Is what I'm gonna call it. It's like an EAA school project.
What does that stand for?
EAA was Educational Achievement Authority. Okay. I don't know when y'all remember when they had like certain DPS. So the Cass and Renaissance and all those were like the regular schools or whatever, and then they transitioned some other schools, Central being one of them. I think Henry Ford was another. Yep. Then they were the EAA
started getting
school.
Like tech at the end of their name and stuff.
Yeah, they started to do that, and Cody was doing that. Remember when it was like three different schools within Cody? So that's when that started, and it was just a failed project or whatever, and they was putting this dollar amount out there that was attractive, right? So the dollar amount they was putting out was attractive to a lot of, people coming out of Teach for America or like a fellowship like myself. I did a fellowship, and that dollar amount was attractive. But, it was a whole different ball game that I was used to because I didn't go to a public DPS high school. Okay. I went to DPS as far as like up to 5th grade.
Okay.
And then my parents took me out, and I went to another DPS school, but it was like a special school. It was a Detroit Academy for Math, Science, and Technology. And then after that, I went to UAD Jesuit in the 7th grade, and I was there since.
Okay.
So going to Central was like, dang, like, okay, this is a reality check. Like,
It's like lean on me.
It's just like it.
Man, what's
You
crazy?
know what I'm saying? Just like it.
I was talking to somebody who never went to a DPS. They sure went to Southfield Public Schools, and I was like, damn, I've only went to a DPS. Like, I've never had a different experience in from K through 12 where, like, so it was like 95%, 98% black people, black students. And in middle school, yeah, we was wild in the middle school. Like, it was dangerous in middle school. Like, it was literally wilding in middle school.
See, my journey was a little bit different because I went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade.
Okay.
I went to St. Mary's of Redford. Right on Grant. I
We
know
used to-
a little known
play
Dame
St. Mary.
fact.
We used to play St. Mary.
Catholic school, Mr.
Yeah, I went to Catholic
PA,
school.
huh?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
still West Side relegated. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still official.
Okay.
You understand? It's still stripes on this tiger.
Okay.
But
Rosedale Academy.
I went to St. Mary's of Redford, kindergarten to 8th grade, and it was time to take that test to go, figure out which high school I was going to. And I had a chance to probably go to DePorce or somewhere else. Like, I was decent at football. I probably had a chance to go somewhere else and, do that shit because of, my Catholic school education. But I decided.
We're gonna talk about this at a later time, by the way.
So I'm gonna put it out here because I never told my parents this shit. This is like some shit that I just kept to myself. I had my god brother at the time. He went to Cass. And he said, just come on out to a game, sit with my girlfriend. She gonna take care of you. I went to that Cass Tech game. I seen all these 16, 17-year-old girls, and they look like grown-ass women. I was like, fuck whatever they talking about in the Catholic School League. This is where I need to be.
Shout out to Cass, man, because I love attending there.
Yeah, 8-1. 8 girls to everyone. I said, this is where I need to be.
And we got 8 floors of this?
Yeah.
Like,
That's all I was thinking. And that was my first, like, when I first walked into public school after all that time. And, I was already used to wearing a uniform. I didn't know you could wear your own clothes at school. Like, that shit was a huge culture shock for me.
So you showed
like
up
9th grade.
First day Cass with your shirt tucked in?
No, I showed up fresh. First day of school.
Book bag on your back.
I was
shirt
Nautica
tucked
fresh
in.
first day of school.
All right,
but just like,
just know that we're gonna visit this.
that's fine. It's my life. It is what it is. Like, I don't hide it. I just don't necessarily advertise it. But like, when I showed up to Cass, it was a complete culture shock. Yeah. Like, I didn't know I could walk out of school whenever I felt like it, and wasn't nobody gonna say nothing to me. Like, skipping. Like, when I discovered skipping, it was like a drug.
Man,
it was chasing the high.
and that's what I'm saying. So it's like, as an adult, so imagine as an adult, you getting that shock, right, going to the classroom, and you like,
kids walking out of class.
Yeah, they walking straight out. As soon as you introduce yourself, all right, hey, I'm Mr. Harris, nice to meet everybody. I'm your new math. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh man, so that to me, I'll just, you got to be a seasoned vet, man, to start off in that type of situation. So I was at Central for 1 quarter, 1 quarter, man, and after that, I ended up getting a position at U Prep.
There, man.
I mean,
it's a jungle.
Shit.
But I had always look. This is another thing too. I had originally always wanted to do middle school though, because to me, I felt like I can mold a middle school young male, because that's part of the reason why I got into education too, because I wanted to do my part as helping these young black males, get to the next level. So for me, I was like a 12 and 13-year-old. I can kind of, you still listening, but to me, like the high schoolers, some of them, man, they was doing the same things that I was, basically, right, paying bills, taking care of their families, hustling, whatever they was doing. So it's like, well, what really can you tell me when I'm basically an adult just like you?
Yeah.
So for me, a middle schooler was like, that was an age group I felt like, okay, they'll still listen. I can still mold you a little bit. I can still motivate you or push you in a certain direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember I had a partner of mine, almost a similar situation. My homeboy Rod, he's an administrator now off at a university. But when he first started, he fresh out of college, he went to like River Rouge schools his whole career, and he started teaching at Cody, and he was a sub at Cody.
What year?
Rod was teaching while we were still in high school because he a couple years older than me, so he might have been at Cody like 98, 99, right around in that area.
I went to Cody in like 99.
Yeah. So my homeboy Rod was at Cody, and he was like, basically like his first month there, he said something to a student, trying to put him out of class. He said the young boy played football. He said he turned his back, writing up on a chalkboard, and all he heard was like desk wrestling. The young nigga rushed him in front of the class. And he said, he had to muscle him and get him down. But when you 17, you playing football, like you got a little weight and a little strength on you.
Yeah.
He said he had to hold him down till security got there. And you still got to save face because if you get your ass beat in front of the class, ain't no coming back to teach.
Ain't no coming back.
Yeah.
No. And that was and you said that was how long ago?
Shit, about 20 years ago.
Right, okay, so that's 20 years ago, right? So let's say now, right?
It's on the
Everybody
phone.
pulling out this. So there, if you,
You know what I mean?
if something
I done
happened,
seen with teachers on World Star and
getting banged,
Right.
So, and me, I've been a 150-pound frame for like the last 20 years. I've been the same size since I was 13. So
you can't let him run up on you, Mr. Harris.
No,
You can't.
and we only had, I think,
watch out, Mr. Harris, here you come.
we only had one security guard on that floor. I think when I was at Central, it was on the second floor, and I think we just had one security guard per floor, whatever. So, but yeah, man, that's another one of my
I didn't think about them phones, man. Like you said, 20 years ago.
That was 20 years ago.
It wasn't a
But
huge
now,
deal. You be on World Star
you
before
be on World
lunchtime.
Star. Yeah.
So we got husband, father, teacher.
So husband, father, teacher. I'm also a doctoral student as well now at Wayne, so I'm getting my doctorate in educational leadership and admin. Just as a way to try to help improve the education system, public education system, which I think is failing, to improve it at a bigger level. Because in the classroom, it's not happening. I just don't have enough clout, enough pull to really affect anything outside of my classroom. And so,
what's your ideal position? What would you?
Well, my ideal position is really two tracks you can go. So one track is if you you get your doctorate or whatever, you can go down and be like a superintendent, right? You can be what they say is like in the field. Mm-hmm. The other track is you can work at a university, and do research and all of the research that you're doing is changing policies and things that they're doing at the district level, whatever. Okay. So that's actually more so the track that I want to go down. Okay. Is more so to just kind of do research and change things that way. And not to say that either way is right or wrong. Like there's both pros and cons to both.
Right.
But for me, that's kind of where I want to head. But yeah, doctoral student, and then of course, also new author. And
that's what's up. That's what we're gonna be talking about today.
Yeah, new author and speaker as well. So those are my two new things that I'm doing, and a lot of, like I said at the beginning, a lot of things going on, and I'll talk about that.
So what's the name of this? What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is called More Than a Village.
More Than
a Village. Yeah, and in the book, I really, as far as the title, it really came down to me. Really, I was tired of kind of hearing that same figure of speech that we always say. I get tired of hearing that, man. And I know it's just a figure of speech, but all villages are not created equal. Matter of fact, just don't even use the word village anymore. I mean, we have villages. That's more so when you can walk over to a neighbor's house or, over here, and you can learn philosophy from that neighbor. You can walk over there and then learn something about spirituality, or walk over here and learn something about social science, but that's not how our neighborhoods are structured anymore.
Right. You barely know your neighbors.
You don't even know your neighbors. Hey, how you doing? If that, right? Some neighborhoods where it's predominantly black communities or projects, you lock in 7 locks to keep people out of your house. So where is really the village aspect of certain things? when, all villages are not the same. Like in certain urban areas, certain predominantly black communities, liquor store on every corner, right? Gas station, libraries closing, a lack of resources. But then you go over to some suburbs, you got schools that might be performing in the top 10, 15%. You got world-class libraries, or you got resources.
There's resources in those schools.
Yeah, resources in those schools. And so, to me, it takes more than somebody's unique village to really be successful and raise a child. So that's where the title came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been wanting to write a book?
No, not long. Never.
Okay.
Never. I mean, it was never something I ever thought about, right? So I always been a decent writer. Like I was, English and writing class, I always did well. I was always like being an A student.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was younger, sometimes I would, and my mom can tell you this, I used to just jot down and do my own little stories, like in those little composition books.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing I would turn in, but I would just be writing like little stories about the neighborhood or something like that, right? But the route that I chose to go down as far as education, it just kept pushing me in the directions that I was wanting to go in. Like first I wanted to do physical therapy because my dad was a PT, or whatever, about my dad. So it didn't work out, right? As soon as I took genetics and anatomy in the same semester, flunked both of them. It was a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Got weeded out.
It's not gonna work out.
Yeah, got weeded out real quick. And so that was a wrap on that. Then I changed a sociology major, right? And didn't even know what I wanted to do that. I just knew it was an interesting subject. I was like, okay, I like studying
Sociology
people.
was like one of my favorite subjects in college.
Yeah, it was like, this is interesting. We actually talking about people, the study of people, and that's something I like doing or whatever. So that's why I went into it originally, and I was thinking, well, where can I go from there? Thought about law. Right, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do sociology, pre-law. Took constitutional law, man, fall asleep every day in class. You know what I'm saying? That didn't work out. I was like, no, I'm not feeling this.
I always feel
this
like
type of class.
I could be a lawyer. Somebody just got to do the research. Let me make the argument.
Let you argue.
Yeah.
Like, let me argue, which they do have.
Yeah, they do.
You got trial lawyers. You got people who just,
hey,
give me all the information in this case, and I'm gonna make a dog ass argument based on it.
Like that movie, Roman J. Esquire was like that. Remember, before his partner had died, Denzel's character was the one that was in the office doing the paperwork, and then his partner, I forget his name.
Go to court,
yeah, he was the one doing the show.
The personality, basically.
Exactly, yeah. So, then maybe if I had known that back, but either way, where I'm at right now is where I'm supposed to be. And as far as writing a book, man, when I first had my son, right, I took a paternity leave is what happened. So I took a paternity leave for 3 months, unpaid, but I took the leave or whatever. And
you need time to bond with him.
and I know that's not a thing necessarily a fathers can have the luxury to do all the time or really want to do.
I took it with my kids.
I'm taking it whenever I have my. I ain't coming to work for a while.
It's the best thing I ever did, man. It really is. I would tell any dad, man, as much time as you can take it, man, because the way for your, like you said, for your son or daughter is like to know you, and mom can leave for hours, even if she's breastfeeding. Like my wife can leave for hours. You know what I'm saying? If she got to do her thing, and he can be with me, and he's comfortable, not like, where he's like crying or I can't do or it's out of control type. He knows me, and if you spend time with your son in those first months, that's how it's going to be.
It makes a huge difference.
It's going to make a difference. So, y'all know, like I was saying, I'm up nights, up 2 a.m., can't get back to sleep, just up. And I just kind of started to have, almost like a dream. And I don't know if you look, you go back to you read certain Bible stories, right? And it's like they say God came to them in a dream, and they wake up and then they like, if it was Joseph, Jonah, whoever is like, then they come out and they start writing something. That's kind of how it was for me. It's like just thoughts of writing. So I'm up, start writing little stuff. It was connected to more than like being a father and next thing you know, it turned into, 2 pages here, 5 pages, 10 pages, and I'm writing without thinking. And that never happened before. Like before, if I was writing something for school, it's like I'm struggling to get a page, 2 pages. But when I started writing the book, man, it just started flowing, and it was like I enjoyed doing this, and that's how.
How long did it take you to write the book?
So I took the paternity leave. It started in January, and then I was pretty much done with my first draft by like the end of April, early May. So about 4 to 5 months it took me, and that was like me writing every day. You know what I'm saying? I was writing consistently, like it was one of my like a real job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Did you self-publish?
Yeah, I'm self-publishing. Yeah,
good.
Self-publishing.
Because ownership.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Good. Man, that's extremely dope, and a lot of people, that's not the same process for everybody. Some people like, man, it took me 2 years to write this.
Yeah.
So that's how I know that essentially this was placed upon you, and this was supposed to come out. So when you wake up in the middle of the night, and let me get my pen and pad and start writing. Yeah. Sometimes a lot of us from our community will get that, and we're like, well, let me get this microphone, let me get this freestyle out. Yeah. But I think
that ain't what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. And think about how many great writers who ended up being rappers or whatever because that's just how it was. I mean, we rap, you know what I'm saying? We did the thing, but like, what if you picked up the pen and put those thoughts into actual sentences and paragraphs and then short stories and then long form? Like, we got a lot of people who put music and different content out who are great thinkers. Like, what if you applied yourself just a little bit further and put that information into a deeper topic?
But you know what? When we were talking before we went on air, when you talk about schools, curriculums, the ideas that you come up with, a lot of times we're not pushed into that direction. We see the easy way out. If I can hoop, I can rap, I can run fast. Yeah. That's the quickest route for me to get out. But it may be becoming an author, becoming a poet. Researching, standing behind the camera. That might be your alternative to get out of the situation that you're in. But kids don't really have exposure sometimes to some of those options.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, via social media, man, I see that you post a lot about family values.
Absolutely.
And I know that's a staple, and I assume that's a staple in the book as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what the book is all about, because for me, to find a little bit more of a balance, within our communities, and not just in the Black community, but just as across the U.S., right? People is just trying to find balance, right? Trying to find the right way to raise their children in a forever changing modern day America, right? Things are changing by the second. What's might work the previous day, the next day something changes, right? For me, it's like it always goes back to what is your value? Like what is the things that you value, and the things that you learn to value, you're gonna get it from your family. That's the origin of where it starts, regardless of what your family structure was like. So you have a couple different family structures, right? You got traditional, which is how I was raised with the 2-parent household. Both my parents married, still married, right? Then you have sort of the non-traditional families, which is, that's most families now, which is the blended family, step-parent or grandma, granddad raising a kid, or, even people that are not married, but they're raising kids. So that's more like what the norm is now. And then you have like the alternative family. So alternative, foster care, or, streets, was raised in the streets, gang, whatever, but that's family. There was like a quote by Snoop just saying like, all a gang is just a family. Like, it's not nothing bad. It's just a kid looking for somebody to belong to. And you're going to learn what to value when you are with that family. Right. So for me, big thing, value education was when I was being raised. For other people, if you are, you raised in a situation where you're struggling, your family's struggling, you're going to learn to value money, and you go back to a lot of people that was raised poor, but now they're like billionaires, whatever, right? They kind of go back to, okay, I really didn't never want to be struggling for money.
Yep.
And eventually they get to that point where they're going to value money, and then find out like, okay, it's not everything that I thought, right? It gives me what a lot of things I can buy and purchase, but you're actually not putting your value in the actual money per se itself. You're putting your value in hard work, or you're putting your value in helping people and stuff like that. So that's why a lot of people that end up having so much money end up doing what? Giving it away, right? Becoming philanthropists anyway. So I just really feel like in order to help young people be successful is really what I'm aiming for is like the adolescent and teenage is what I'm really aiming for. I feel like learning and changing the values at some point is really the key to a lot of kids getting to that next level, and the exposure as well. So if you value mentorship, right, which is probably, like you guys getting started on y'all podcast, like at some point you got to talk to somebody that's done it, right? Like somebody. I don't care if it's for a minute or you somebody's your mentor for a year. You got to talk to somebody that's done what you're doing. And I don't even know if a lot of people growing up really know the value of mentorship. And so I talk about all these things kind of in the book. I don't want to give away too much, but talking about there's certain things that you just have to value or tell a kid to value to get to that next level.
I know for me, like mentorship was something that was, I want to say like life-changing for me. I grew up in a more traditional environment. Both my parents were married up until the point my mother passed. But I remember I sort of got adopted into a mentor when I was probably about 19, 20. He's a businessman in the city of Detroit. And at the time, I wanted to, have my own successful business. I just thought that, I could hit the ground running. I make my LLC and I'll be out here. I'll figure out the funds and see what happens. But like when he kind of brought me under his wing and showed me his story, his struggle, his business ups and downs, he told me very plainly he wasn't successful until he was damn near 36, 37 years old. Like he was working 2 jobs, one in the gas station and, delivering Coke and Pepsi products. And I just thought, once I decided in my mind that I wanted a business, the path would go one way, and I didn't understand the ups and downs with it. And with him, being with him, exposed me to so many other things that I didn't know were possible at that stage in my life. And like for me, it was life changing and eye opening that you can start from humble beginnings and still be successful. Just because you went to college or took a traditional route does not guarantee your success either.
Man, that mentorship is so important, man. And I didn't necessarily have growing up, like my dad, like when I need a question or something, like I just looked to my father as my role model. But as we moved, when we were working with the corporation, we was working at Comcast, what I'm saying? We moved into leadership. That was like my first point where I actually got a mentor to help me transition from just being a regular employee to in a leadership capability, and a black male helped me do that. You know what I mean? And like, well, look, man, I was in your position before. These are some of the things that I had trouble with. Let me give you some heads up on some tips that you can use so you don't fall down.
Definitely.
Just to avoid that thing. Right now, and I think you possibly touch upon this in the book, and when we were talking off camera, I was kind of saying like you kind of like a unicorn because you like a black male teacher, a black straight male teacher. And sometimes we don't have a lot of black male role models in a professional, in professional jobs in general.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm glad you just asked me that because that's what I wanted to touch on for sure is, the thing about a black male, right? Most of the times, and particularly when it comes to writing a book or really telling your story in general, right? The things that are attractive for people to hear is right, like those started from the bottom type stories. I started off selling dope. Or I went to jail, or my mom was on crack when she had, those are the stories where it's like, get a lot of attention, right? And people really open their eyes. Like even for myself, when I read somebody's story, I'm like, wow, and you became successful after all of that happened. But it's also beneficial to hear about the other side as well, so that certain upbringings can sort of be, a model. And some people will probably come to me and they joke around and say, and you spoon fed, right? Spoon fed story, you know what I'm saying? You have both parents spoiled, right? And automatically, I remember it was a bar back in the day with Lloyd Banks, who was one of my favorite artists back then. it was like, if you grow up with your mother and your father, you spoiled. Just off rip, you know. And so
I'm spoiled in motherfucker.
you know what I'm saying? And that was, I don't know if that's right, the perspective of most people, but it's like, in certain situations, people do look at, okay, man, like, I don't really want to hear much because you got it easy. But I think it's beneficial to hear about the bad and the good stories. And that's why, in my opinion, like, I wanted to continue to put out the material and put out the book, because that may have been something to stop me. Like, oh, man, I'm not sure if, you know, people just want to hear a good story. But most of the book is a feel-good story about, hey, how my parents kind of molded it together, which they didn't plan. You know, if you ask my parents, you know, with all three. So people look at me, but it's all three it's me and my brother, two of my younger brothers, all three of us made it out the city. You know, grew up on Selma, made it out the city, all graduated from college, all have professional jobs. And so most people will look at my parents like, okay, what y'all do was the blueprint. You know what I'm saying? They tell you nothing was planned. It just happened to work out that way through them instilling certain values in us. And then, you know, from that point on, I felt like I needed to tell a feel-good story.
And there's absolutely no blueprint when it comes to raising kids.
No, not at all.
Like,
not at all.
You don't get an instruction manual. You got to kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
You're going to have your successes, but, you know, you got to figure out the path for your child.
Yeah.
You know what you didn't have in life.
Yeah.
And you want to try and give your child the better.
Yeah.
And give them the things that you didn't have access to or couldn't get on your own.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the main thing that my parents did, was like, okay, because they grew up, and you know this, Jay, like, you know, my mom's background was, you know, from some tragic, you know what I'm saying, tragedy. Her mom passed when she was like 7 or 8 years old, you know what I'm saying?
Christmas morning?
Christmas morning, she woke up to her mom gone, you know what I'm saying? And after that point, her dad was pretty much alcoholic, you know what I'm saying, and, you know, just coping or whatever. And, you know, he passed away when she was a teenager, you know what I'm saying? So she was pretty much raising herself and being raised by her older sisters and older brothers. And that just really rocked her family, you know what I'm saying? So her upbringing was, you know, was rough. My dad was more of a traditional upbringing, you know, with his parents married or whatever, a lot more stable and everything. But all they tried to do for us was, we gonna try our best to give you guys what we didn't have, anything as far as resources, we just gonna try to pour it into you, and that's all they ever did. And so you're right, there's no blueprint on it. This book is not necessarily a blueprint or anything, but I'm just sharing my story, and I think it could really help people.
I mean, it's important too, man, to know that everybody don't have to have the worst possible outcome for the story. Like, you don't have to go through trauma in order to make it.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be, man, I was homeless, I was this. Yeah, that sounds good in the story, but if that's not your story, live your truth.
Yeah.
Like, so what about the regular kid who didn't sell drugs, but I still ain't get the Jordans? like, you know what I'm saying? I had both my parents. That don't mean that I could, you know what our budget was for shoot? $60. Whatever you can get out of Foot Locker for $60, you can have. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's just what it is coming up. You, as a child, you're so closed off from what your parents go through. They appear like larger than life figures to you. Yeah. But you know, now me being a father, I'm a regular ass person. Like, I got ups and downs. Sometimes I got hella money in my pocket. Sometimes I'm putting quarters together to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna make it from day to day. Yeah. But as a child, you're never privileged sometimes to your parents' struggles, and they try and save face too. They regular people trying to figure it out. I look at it like, my pops had me, my parents were like 27 and 28 when they had me. Okay. I was 22 when I had my son. So, I mean, there's a huge gap and a disparity, and you're literally growing up and trying to figure out life, number one, with a spouse, and then with another little person that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Like, as parents, like, your kids don't know when it's a bill past due. That's some shit you never gonna inform them of.
Right.
No. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may think everything is all good. Oh, I had the great. You don't know what's going on. Yeah. You don't know who calling in and they taking the call upstairs because like, you don't know.
They ain't got no clue that DTE on my ass, and the lights might flicker on Thursday, but I'm gonna figure it the fuck out.
I'm glad y'all brought up both of those things as far as bills, and then you were saying with the $60 budget, right? So similar thing, right? Same type of budget. Well, we can walk in a Toys R Us, right? And we can, pick out something we wanted. Didn't really get the J's and all that, like ever. Until we started getting to high school. So both of my brothers, my younger, they went to Cass, right? So they started getting the gear a lot more than me. I was a hooper, right? So I played basketball and football. So I was just wearing jumpsuits, Nike all the time. My dad would dress me up in Rydell's. I don't know if y'all remember them shoes.
Yeah.
Pump, the pumps, like whatever shoes he was wearing, I was wearing. Reeboks, and I didn't even want those. I wanted the J's. So I was just wearing whatever shoes. He buy his 10.5 and he buy me my 7.5, 8.5 or whatever. So it wasn't until I got to high school, when I seen the 11s, those the J's I fell in love with, right? Man. The 11s.
Yeah, them was my ones.
Yeah. Those my ones too. So when I seen them, I just fell in love. I just had to have them, right? I was almost asking them like every day. And I don't know what made him give in, but, he did. Probably because, again, maybe he couldn't grab J's. He had to wear whatever shoes he was getting.
The first Jordans I bought was some 12s. And I didn't get, when I got to 9th grade, after 9th grade, I got a job. So I've been working since I've been 14 years old. And it wasn't until, as soon as I got a job, we're not buying no school clothes no more. This is your responsibility. So my gear changed when I got a job and I was paying for it. So I wish I would ask my mom for some Jordans. It's not happening. You know what I'm saying? But I was 9th grade. I got some 12. So this what happened actually. She bought me something for Christmas or something. Something happened to them and I returned them. They gave me a store credit. And I had braids at the time. And my mom actually paid me to cut my hair off. She paid me to cut my hair off and shit. And so
and you scooped that money together.
Yes. And then I got them fucking 12s. Absolutely. I thought I was the man. I'm like, this is the feeling that's going to continue. And I got me a fucking job. And then I started going to Hudson's every paycheck and give me a Nautica shirt.
Look, man.
Slowly but surely. Boom, boom, boom.
I worked at the mall. My first job was at the mall. And when I tell you, my checks never left the mall. They were spent there. I ate at the mall. I shopped at the mall. And I came home broke. Yeah. In the food court. And I came home with gear. That was it. Man. My money never left the mall.
Yeah.
But, going up through different things, man, I'm sure you see middle schoolers who come in there and they got real life problems. Some of them are diagnosed with different things. Some of them are not diagnosed, and they have to somehow deal with the trauma and that they actually are going through. And some of them self-medicate.
Yeah.
Some of them don't medicate at all. How do you maneuver through that?
I'm not gonna lie and say it hasn't been hard, at times because a lot of people, don't understand about teaching. There's so many jobs wrapped up into one. Right? It's not just teacher. It's teacher, psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, behavior manager. Social worker. If you really gonna do the job and do it well, it's all of those jobs wrapped into one and everything. So the biggest thing for me, and Jay, you touched on this earlier, is when a black male walks in, and a younger black male, right? When I walk in the door and that new student sees me, right? It's just for them, it just kind of takes them back, okay, wow, I might be able to identify with this guy or whatever. He looks like me, he sounds like he might talk like me a little bit. He might be raised from where I'm raised from. He's not coming in here acting like a complete square. Then he's gonna lay down some class expectations and rules, but I only do that in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? But after that, I loosen up, you know what I'm saying? I get my students to know me more. And anytime I went in for an interview for teaching, right? They always ask, what are you gonna do to build your relationships with the kids? How you gonna let the kids learn, math or whatever? What's gonna be your strategies? Just get them to know me. They get to know me, they gonna want to learn anything. It don't matter if it's math, it don't matter whatever I'm teaching.
They
gonna
buy
learn
in.
it. Yeah, they gonna buy in.
Once they, I mean, it's the same like with leadership. Like once they buy in and they love you and respect you, then they gonna do what you ask them to do.
Yeah.
because they respect you.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Mr. Harris. All right, because like so, K through 12, I had 3 black male teachers.
Wow.
And all 3 of those was in high school.
Yeah, I can. I may have 5.
And 2 of them at Cass was history, Mr. Hodges, Mr. Apple, and one at Cody, Mr. Roberts. And like so, either it was history or English, because that's what I don't know. Is that what black men gravitate to? I don't know.
Yeah, it's typically not math and science because they take a little bit longer for those subjects, and a lot of people just scared of math in general.
Like,
so
as I look back, I never had a black male teacher all the way through elementary or through middle school. Yeah. The male teacher I had white science teachers and had like an Italian computer guy or whatever.
I had one black teacher up until the point where I reached 9th grade. And then even in Cass, if I exclude like coaches and things of that nature, like maybe another 3.
And for middle school, I went to a K through 8. You know what I'm saying? So like through 8th grade, our gym teacher was a woman, which was dope. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Miss Tim was the truth. But like we didn't even have a male gym teacher.
Yeah. And that was my first experience with a black male teacher in school. Was I took football class. I ain't take gym, but
one of the teachers,
he was my coach.
One of the black male teachers went to my church. You know what I'm saying? So like I already knew him.
Yeah,
so it's like it don't count. So really like 2, and those are the 2 that stood out the most.
Yeah.
In real life, like so, I've always been good in writing and composing and everything, but literally that's my 12th grade English teacher, Mr. Roberts, because he beat that into us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's what I remember from high school. And Mr. Apple, I think he was my economics, possibly.
I thought Apple taught history.
He did, but like he broke down. Somebody was in there like selling like M&Ms. You know how we do the little things. Yeah. And he broke down like the supply and demand in a way I've never heard it before, never understood it. And like that was what, 97, 98?
Yeah.
We 20 years later, and like I remember this conversation spot on. And like he talked about supply and demand and how all that works, and if you take something out the market, put it back in, and I'm like, that it blew my mind. But I don't know if
he had a unique way of teaching.
Facts. But I connected with
it was unconventional at times.
And when you in a city that's 86% black, when you in the blackest city in the country and all your students are black, maybe you need somebody who looks like you to speak to you.
Yeah, you do.
And that's all I've been saying. I'm actually going to a conference, BMCE conference, I believe is an acronym for it, in October. And it's all black male teachers from around the country coming in and talking about this issue in Philadelphia. And right now, I think the stats is black male teachers make up 5%. Only 5% of teachers nationwide, only 5%. And that's a tragedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a tragedy. And like we're saying, in a city that's predominantly African-American, in order for a kid to buy in so that you can have that teacher that can relate to you in some way. Like with math, and math is really, really easy. That's what some people don't understand. It's really easy to relate to a kid because everything you doing involves anything. You just bought your watch or whatever. Okay, boom, let's talk about the math. You want to talk about Floyd? We was talking about Floyd, right, earlier?
Yeah.
When they break down that number, so they say Floyd's net worth is, $90.9 billion or whatever. That's a subject in math called scientific notation, and I bring that in when first time we talk about that.
So if we in the boxing and somebody break down, well, look at the end of the night, the final punch stats, because here's how many I thrown, here's how many landed, and here's a percentage. Now you doing math and doing fractions, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. What people they what they can relate to, which is why I never understood what. Remember in what was the movie Blue Chips? Shaquille O'Neal kept saying, man, this test is culturally biased.
Yeah, that was Blue Chips. Yeah.
And I was younger and I didn't understand what that meant until later on when you give a kid a math problem or a word math problem and say, Johnny needs to take a train and the train stops off here and here and here, or somebody, or how many cars does it how many times it take to fill up a gas from a trip from here to Chicago, from Chicago to this, and Chicago is 200 miles away. Yeah. From a kid who ain't never left out the city of Detroit. I don't got a car. How much do gas cost? Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like these concepts is different. But
They're foreign.
but then when I say, all right, and this is this was on a episode of what's the LeBron show that was on Stars?
Survivor
Force.
Yeah.
So the dude was taking a test and had one of those, and he didn't understand it. So my man gave him some drug terminology and shit. Was like, all right, listen, my man got 2 bags, 2 birds, whatever. He need to break this down, and he was able to explain it because he explained it in a way I can relate to these items.
Yeah.
I've never been on a train from Japan to Australia or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like that cultural portion is definitely a real thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And you got to make the teaching and the material, like we had talked about it earlier, not all kids are going to learn the same. They're not all going to relate the same. You got to make that connection and figure out where those students are going to connect with you as a teacher, because you have a curriculum that you have to teach to. You got test scores that you have to teach to.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes that even interferes with the curriculum itself. So, I mean, you still got to find a way to connect and make an imprint and make a difference, you know, despite all of those other factors that you're forced to deal with.
Yeah, the relationships is the key. And like your question at the beginning, Jay was saying, how do you navigate right through all of the issues going outside of school? But I could be that one person for that kid, like that changes their life. You know what I'm saying? And if I do it just for one, like, okay, like I did my part, you know what I'm saying? But I'm going to help out even more. But the thing, some people get overwhelmed with saying they feel like they're not doing enough. But if 20 years down the road, man, a kid comes to you and they're in their 30s or 40s, right? And you see them in a grocery store, oh, Mr. Harris, oh. And they like, I'm so glad that, you know what I'm saying, you taught me. You see them with their wife and their child, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. You know, you taught me a lot of things just outside of math, man. Just, matter of fact, you didn't even have to say much. I just looked to you for an example. I saw you was married and had a child and saw the things you value. And that changed my life. Like, when I hear that, you know what I'm saying, if I hear that later on, like, for me, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I did what I was supposed to.
You know, I had a lot of good teachers in school, but I can remember, like, the teachers that made, like, an impact. I know how to do, you know, multiplication fast because I remember my 3rd grade teacher teaching us how to multiply, and it connected with me. I know how to write a paper because my 9th grade English teacher rolled our ass with that shit. I know MLA style. I know, you know, now I can help my son continue to be successful with his career because of the things that were imparted in me at such a young age.
You know what, damn, you probably remember this. We had a black substitute at Cass.
Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool.
I knew where you was going with that already.
And like this was he broke. So I don't know. I maybe been in class maybe 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a substitute, so he just show up whenever. And he broke down the 48. So he was a large African American male. Typically,
he would wear dashikis.
African garb.
He was woke
with dreads.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he broke down.
And but before you jump, as a substitute, he had a presence. He was loud, commanding, and he wasn't taking no shit.
He wasn't taking no shit.
Not an ounce.
But he was the first person that told me about Maat. He also the 42 negative confessions that, you know what I'm saying, that the 10 Commandments kind of based. Like it was just a whole bunch of stuff that he said in a very short amount of time. And he explained like he had some property, he owned some space downtown, and he was like, he owned like some parking lots downtown. And at the time it didn't mean much.
Because downtown wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, but like in my brain, I'm like, I wonder if I wanted to know where Mr. Cool at, because he probably raking up with all that prime time real estate. But like the major points in my life that I be thinking back as far as school related and the things that I remember, it was typically a black male involved.
Yeah.
And it's wild that those little conversations and and at the time I wasn't quote unquote woke. I have no idea why these things resonate with me now. But when I look back at the things that do resonate with me, it's a very common theme. Yeah. And I think that's connected.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think you're doing an excellent job because we know, well, I do personally, but we know your background and where you come from and your set of values. And I think you're doing an excellent job at representing your parents well, representing the family name. But I mean, I just think you're doing an excellent job, man. And I can't wait to read this book, which is actually coming out this week, right?
Yeah, well, actually, I had to move the date. I moved it to the 25th as far as a pre-order.
Okay.
So it'll be released for pre-order on Amazon. And man, I know it's gonna help people, man. So I'm really looking forward to getting the story out. And I fully believe people will enjoy reading. I feel like it'll be a page turner, even though it's not necessarily like a negative story or whatever, or bad.
Is Amazon the only outlet for the book at this time?
At this time, but in the future, I will be making sure that I put out the audio book as well, and making sure that I put out an ebook and stuff like that. So actually, at the time when I release it, because it's going to be released for pre-order next week, but it's going to be available for order March 5th is when it's going to be the official release date, which actually be my birthday on that day. So that's when I'm going to release it. And actually, for pre-order, I'm going to be using each pre-order that's made. I'm going to be taking $5 for each pre-order, and I'm going to be donating that to the Sickle Cell Foundation, because September is Sickle Cell Awareness Month. Okay. And so, like I mentioned earlier, when my wife has sickle cell, and it's a blood disorder that predominantly affects African Americans. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to diseases that kind of affect African Americans, I'm not saying, cancer and all that, I'm saying, yes, a lot of people affected by that. But when it comes to a lot of things that affect our community, it's not as much resources or funding and stuff that's poured into it.
Research.
As a matter of fact, a lot of people, when I say Sickle Cell Awareness Month is September, that's their first time ever hearing it. And the color is red for the awareness. So I'm going to be taking each pre-order $5, and we're going to be donating that to the Sickle Cell Foundation.
That's excellent, man. We need to make that as popular as Pink is in October.
Yeah.
That's something that directly impacts us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was first introduced to sickle cell when I was my music teacher in elementary school had it, and she ultimately passed from it in middle school, and like we didn't know what it was. You know what I mean? So it made us look into it, and I'm like, why does it only impact black people? Like, predominantly, like 98%. It's a reduction.
The numbers are way. It's an improper fraction.
Yeah, definitely. So that was interesting, and I didn't know that September was the awareness month. So I appreciate that.
So it's just available on Amazon. Is there a website? Anything up yet?
Yeah. So right now on as far as my social media account, if you want to follow me, everything is the David D Harris. So THEE David D Harris, so 2 R's. And that's on my Instagram. I have a Facebook page as well. I know nobody really uses Facebook anymore like that. At least when I tell the kids, I say Facebook to my students, and they like, why are you saying that? Yeah, why are you saying Facebook?
That's the old people.
Like I just said Black Planet or something, you know what I'm saying, or MySpace. So, but I do have those 2 social media accounts, and then my website is www.ddharris.com. And so all of the information is on there. You can go learn more information about me. Book me for speaking engagements as well, because next year I do want to start a tour as talking about family values in different schools.
Okay.
And not just schools. I don't think. Also, I think businesses can benefit from my message as well, because for businesses that want to get to the next level and are not quite knowing why it's not getting there, or they're having too much interpersonal issues and relationships between coworkers, well, it's because everybody in there values something differently, right? Like, one of the coworkers might value treating others how you want to be treated, so they're not going to eat somebody's lunch, and then somebody else in there didn't have that value going up, so they're going to come in, see something in the fridge, and go ahead and pull it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that goes on a lot
in offices.
For
real. Listen, it really goes on.
You see the email that go out to the entire staff, like, whoever took the such and such out the refrigerator.
Hey man, we got cameras in my break room, and if you eat somebody's lunch, that's a terminable offense. No, I'm dead serious. Man. They will pull if I say I bought in some Papa Romanos and somebody ate it, and they pull the tape and they catch you eating it, you done. You're done. That's the end of your job.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. You might assume that everybody has the same values, but you don't because everybody's family origin is different. Everybody started from a different place, and all of us have different values. So I want to actually also go into businesses, no matter how small or how big, and say, hey, we have to collectively create values that we all kind of follow, and then I think the businesses can run a lot smoother as well.
Yeah.
We got something similar going on.
Yeah, we do. We do. Soon come.
Yeah. And give me your social media one last time, man.
Oh, so social media on Instagram, again, everything is the David D. Harris. Again, that's THEE, David D. Harris with 2 R's. Catch me on Instagram, also my Facebook page. And the best way to really find out when everything is going on is catch me on the website. That's when I have a tab for the pre-order for next week. All you got to do is click the tab. It'll take you directly to the Amazon page, and you can order from there.
Perfect.
You got to... Is it time for my music pick of the week?
Yeah.
I don't think I gave one on Friday.
That didn't count.
Okay. My music pick of the week, man, is 2 artists we're very familiar with, T.I. and Meek Mill. I was kind of on the fence about new T.I. music because I just hadn't believed in him in a while, but I think he got a banger on his hands where Hefe is the name of the song. T.I., Meek Mill, my music pick for the week. I don't know if T.I. got a project upcoming. Maybe he does, and that's why he's starting to drop, music, but I'm interested. He got my ear right now, so I'm interested to see what may come of it.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, we'll get it connected to when we post the episode.
I totally forgot about Who Mans this week. So listen,
I can easily do the Who Mans is this for the week.
I do have a Who Mans is this. Have you been keeping up on the Trayvon Martin documentary?
Yeah, man, it's hard for me to watch. Like I tell myself every time I see it come on, I'm not gonna watch it, and then I do, and I'm just more angry.
Yeah, man. So it was a segment that I'm gonna play. Like I'm gonna insert it like right here. So it's a segment on there where he's out signing like Confederate flag. Zimmerman.
Yeah, George Zimmerman.
He's out there like signing Confederate flags and making experiences, signing Skittles. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. Like he need to catch a bullet. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. Catch it somewhere. I'm not gonna be the one throwing it, but you should catch it. You know.
For all the crazy shit that happens in Florida, I'm remiss that somebody ain't ran up on him yet.
Yeah. So it's not George who exactly getting Who Mans this, because like, come on, we already know. But in the documentary, it was a gentleman who was talking, and he was like, talking about the Confederate flag, and he was like, well, y'all just heard the clip, but he was talking about like, well, it doesn't. I know a lot of people think it's racist, but it really has like another meaning for our heritage. And it doesn't mean just that. And from the Civil War or whatever. And the Civil War wasn't just fought over slavery. It was fought like over a whole bunch of other things, but people get that misconstrued.
How do you wave a flag as a loser?
But
you lost the Civil War.
So after he said all this, he was like, so the producer guy, he leaned over like, what are the other reasons that the war was fighting? He was like, I mean, well, I'm not a historian, so I can't really go. I don't know all the other reasons. Like, so he was like, well, like bigotry and things of that nature. He was like slavery. Yeah, like slavery. Like, who mans is this, fam? You on a documentary trying to defend some shit, and he asks you one simple question, like, well, I mean, I don't know about all the extra stuff. Man, get the fuck out of here.
I'm a huge football fan, especially college football. You don't lose the game and plant your flag at midfield. Like you have to win. You got to win before you like. If you go into enemy territory, if Michigan beats Ohio State in Ohio and they plant the Michigan flag in the middle of the field, that's because they won. You don't do that shit when you lose. People wave the Confederate flag like they won the war. I'm not a historian myself, but I know you lost. So, I mean, why is the flag such a huge inspiration of pride to a war that you lost?
We know what time it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can beat around the bush. We know what time it is. We know what you mean when you say it. Like, you might as well just be a bold racist. I mean,
they bold out here. Unfortunately, the climate, The climate is for real out here. Trump has got a lot of y'all feeling brave. But don't let your bravery get you shot in the face.
Facts. You can catch something. I'm not throwing it. I'm not throwing it.
Don't let that bravery get you shot in the face. Is it time for the Benny?
It is, man.
All right, man. Dame going wild on everything that matters. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. No Facebook, because that's for old people. I won't get that out. But Twitter, IG, and Snapchat, you can get at me.
I got Facebook stock, though. It does good sometimes. J Johnson 313 on everything that matters. Most importantly, go to the website, shoptalkpod.com.
That's a dope Black Panther shirt you rocked this week, man.
It is.
The West Side T'Challa. And I watched Black Panther for the 9th time yesterday.
It's on Netflix.
I'm glad it's on Netflix.
And I'm surprised like Netflix didn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah,
like
they just snuck it in there.
I was literally just searching for stuff one day. I was like, is
And
it
they-
Black Panther?
And they didn't put it on the main page.
No.
And when you type it in, you got to put black_PAN before it finally pops up and shit. You know what I'm saying?
That makes no sense.
They whack on that shit.
Like it was a huge movie. Like why wouldn't you tell people that Black Panther is on Netflix right now?
You know what I'm saying? So I didn't watch it I watched it on Netflix 2 different times. I've probably seen them. I don't know how many times I've seen the movie.
My hotel room had the TVs. You could connect your Netflix to the television.
Okay.
So that's all I watched because they
Did you
didn't
unhook it?
Yeah, I did because they had no premium channels in my hotel. Not one. I didn't even have HBO.
Yeah, man. ShopTalkPod.com. Also follow Shop Talk Podcast, Shop Talk Podcast Studios. I'm not saying we're the Rockefeller podcast, but we are Jay and Dame.
Hell yeah.
Peace.